Okay, now we're going to have an advice panel come up because that's all you want is just lots of advice and more advice and more advice, right? So we're going to provide that for you because I was sure that that's exactly what you wanted. So we'll have Jeff Kane and Beth Voss and Diane Fuchs and Bill Varant come up. Some of the best advice givers I know. I get a lot of advice from one of these people. I'm older. He should be listening to me, right? That's the way it goes.
I'll sit on the side.
Oh, for heaven's sakes, just sit down. Okay, so I came up with a few questions that I know were going through your mind and you were asking. And everybody has a different answer. And the thing to keep in mind is listen, take some of it, throw some of it out, okay? Because that's the way advice works, is you can listen to it, but you don't have to do it. And I think that's usually a good thing. And because even if it comes out the way someone says it should, you can say, oh yeah, I should have listened to them, and you've learned something, right? So that's how it goes. All right, so are you ready, panel? Everybody has someone or something that has influenced them greatly in their life that they come back to. It's kind of a touchstone. And so I'd like for you to each take some turns and tell us who that person or what that thing was that has influenced your life. Jeff, you can go first.
Oh, I gotta go first. Mine would be my dad, more than anybody else, and it was because he certainly made mistakes during his life, but he has lived his life in a way that I would want to, and just set a really good example for me, as not just as a dad and as a man, but as a Christian man too.
And mine would be both my parents. I can't look at my mom because she's gonna cry. And I'm not even graduating. My parents pushed me and they challenged me, and my dad's leaving. And we're really good Christian people for me to be examples for me. You go.
Bill's advice was we need to take the mic out of the holder, and and Diane has decided the better advice would be to put it back in.
Actually, is it on?
It will be.
Oh, it will be. Okay. I would say my parents also. My dad, is it on? I touched it wrong. Oh, there it goes.
Yeah, because it was a red light.
Okay. All right. My parents also. They believed in me, even though I probably didn't always believe in myself. They said that you can do anything you set your mind to and your heart to. And as long as you have Jesus with you, the sky is the limit.
I would have to say, it's interesting, my parents as well. My mother and my father both, I've spoken to Jean about it frequently, that they always provided a safety place for me, but they also made sure that I also got launched when I graduated from high school. All the kids in our family received $500 and a set of luggage. It was a really clear message. So, and I appreciate that. There were times in my life when I really did not want to do something and I didn't feel like it, and I really, whatever, I'd just been in an accident, and I say, I don't think I'm going to work today, Mom. And my mother said, yes, you are. And so my mother always, and my dad too, I didn't feel like doing something or I didn't want to. My mother would always say, well, you just go give it a try. And forever, you just keep moving and keep going, keep getting up. And another person, and that's my wife, my best friend, and I really appreciate Jean's influence in my life. Huge, big rock star for me.
Thank you. What do you miss about your high school years? Beth, we'll start with you.
I miss not having any responsibilities. That was pretty awesome. So, you feel like you have a lot to do, and then when you're older, looking back, you realize that really mom made you food and got you stuff and whatever. So not really having those real responsibilities, I miss that.
Diane?
I miss nothing about school.
That was my other thought.
I didn't like school. And I loved it when I graduated. I was like celebrating. I was so excited, and other kids around me were crying because they were missing it, but I wasn't, so.
Bill?
I had friends that I have not seen since, and they just friends by way of high school classmates. So I don't, sometimes I see people in the street. I'm from Cold Spring, and I look at them and I think, did I graduate from high school or not? Or maybe because it's been since before they invented dirt that I graduated. So I sometimes, so I would miss friends.
Jeff?
Yeah, my initial response was the same as Diane's, absolutely nothing, because I was teased terribly in school, and so I don't have a lot of fond memories of that. But when I thought about it again, I do really miss the organized activities that I was involved in, choir and plays and musicals and things like that. I miss those things a lot.
Okay. Would you advise moving out or living at home after high school? And why? Diane, you can start.
I think you should run as fast as you can. You're free. You can do anything you want now. You can sleep in as long as you want. That's my favorite thing. You can eat whatever you want. You don't have to. You still, though, after I left, I thought I wanted to get as far away from my family as I could, but after I was gone, I really, really, really missed them. I didn't want to admit that, but I went home every weekend to be with them. And so what you think you want isn't always what you really want. So it's a fun journey, so enjoy it.
Well, back to the luggage. It can be a challenge. I went to college, and so I had a place to stay. Financially, it may be a stretch to live away from home. So if you can afford it, I really think it's a good move because you can establish your own independence. You learn how to cook, you learn how to take care of a home, you learn how to manage your money, you learn how to be responsible for yourself, and that's good. I mean, I think that then if and when someday you ever do get married and you bring to that relationship a lot of skills rather than just having to have someone take care of you. So I really enjoyed being away from home, but I also knew that home was a safe place to come back to.
I would say get out. It's the only way you can grow up, you have to do it eventually, and the sooner you do it, the faster you grow up, and as Bill said, the faster you gain your independence, and you learn how to do things for yourself, and what you want and what you don't want, and not what somebody at home is telling you want and like and don't want. So I think it's really important to get out and get on your own as soon as you can.
I think you should stay home. No, I'm kidding. I also think you should go. And that could be anything. It could be just going to college and moving into a dorm. It could be finding a relative who lives in Washington and moving with them for a while, or do mission work, travel, do something at least for a few years. And then if you decide, you know what, Painesville's my favorite place to be, then you can come back. But get out, see some things, and it's for all the reasons that everybody else has said. It's your chance to grow up and establish some things for yourself, learn about the world, and then decide, what do you want to do after that.
I had a conversation recently with the college girls that I meet with weekly, and I had asked them, what is really different about high school to college? And their response was, it's really weird what people think is normal in college. That really stretches me. And I don't know that they mean it that they're positive things. A lot of times they're things that are experimental and they're just considered normal. What would your response be to that? Bill, you want to start?
Sure. I have a friend who has a t-shirt. I tried being normal once. Didn't like it. I really enjoyed the colorful characters on a college campus. However, I knew that was 4 years. Well, for me, it was the 6-year plan. Who wants to go to work? But I also knew that some of the peculiar personalities were a chance to try on something that your mom and dad would probably never allow you to do at home. And on a college campus, you could get away with that, and they probably left having come back probably to what I would consider kind of mainstream. So, or a school beyond, technical school, college, whatever, or it's a chance to try on a whole pile of different personalities and find out in the end where you think you really settle in a safe way. Well, the reason I'm saying that is there's people that are my age that are doing things now that I'm thinking, they really should have done that when they were 18, 19, 20 years old compared to trying that stuff on now when they're way too old to do that and it looks stupid. So go ahead and be weird when you're young, and if some of it sticks, good. It's okay.
Jeff?
I would say the world is a weird place. You live in a very homogeneous town where, if you look around in here, most everybody in our church is white. There's not a lot of diversity sometimes in a small town. And when you get to college, you experience a lot of diversity, and there's a lot of diversity in the world. And when you encounter diversity, you encounter a lot of different things and a lot of different opinions and ideas and behaviors, all those kind of things. That's good to encounter that. It helps you find yourself and what you're comfortable with and how you want to live your life and how you want to be. So I would say you have to, and it's also bringing together a whole bunch of people, sometimes thousands and thousands of people who are all in the same situation, which is they all just left their parents. So people do things that probably wouldn't do otherwise.
Also, it's free entertainment. I used to like to go to the airport when it was open. You could go sit and watch people. And you can kind of do the same thing at college. You can go sit at the library or the coffee shop or a cafeteria, and you can watch all the craziness and just think, watch, be entertained, and all the other deep things that were said too. But sometimes it's just fun to watch and see what crazy things people are going to do.
When you're out in the world, you're going to encounter things that, well, let's just say things that you probably aren't feeling comfortable with, and that's why you feel weird. My advice is to stay true to yourself. Just because all your friends or some of your friends are doing it, and you don't feel comfortable, it's okay to say no, or it's okay to go away, or just make sure that whatever you do, you will always feel true to yourself.
Do you have a favorite passage that has helped you throughout your life that you go back to remind you of things, or just a favorite scriptural passage?
Mine is Romans 3:21, and I won't read it to you verbatim, but it basically says that everybody falls short of God's glory and what God has in mind for us. And no one is different than anyone else. No one is better than anyone else. And the only reason that we can one day be with God is because he sent Jesus to save us. It's through faith that we get there, not by anything we do. And it helps ground me. It helps me remember that try not to judge people because I'm no better than them in God's eyes.
Mine is Philippians 4:8, and I'm going to read it, and then I'm going to tell you how I remember it. But it says, "Finally, brothers and sisters, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things. Whatever you have learned or received or heard from me or seen in me, put into practice, and the God of peace will be with you. And I remember it as, whatever is good, think about that. This is a time when it can be kind of scary. You know, we're telling you, get out of your house, go explore, and that can be really overwhelming. There's a lot of stuff that can go wrong, and this is bad, and I need to remember that there's a, evil that wants me to dwell on that bad stuff. But if I'm going to think about what's good, if I'm going to think about God being a part of my life, He's going to be with me. And I need to focus on the good things that can happen and that will happen as long as I keep Him in the focus of what I'm doing.
Mine is 1 Corinthians 2:9, and it basically is, no one has ever imagined what God has prepared for those who love Him. And I happen to love using my imagination to see if I can create what I think heaven will look like, or what it'll be like with God. And according to God, we could never imagine. So my goal is to find that out.
Mine is, well, I have a whole bunch, but Luke chapter 10, some wise people came to Jesus and said, well, what's the greatest commandment? And Jesus said, well, love the Lord your God with all their heart, soul, strength, and mind, and then love your neighbor as yourself. And Jesus said, those are the two greatest commandments. And then the guy says to him, but who's my neighbor? And then he spins into the story about the Good Samaritan, and to make that longer story really short, basically the Samaritans and the Jews hated each other. They didn't like each other. They wouldn't even associate with each other. And here was a Jewish person who was hurt badly, and who came to his rescue? A Samaritan. The persons that are supposed to hate each other. So there are things in my life I'm trying to wonder, what should I take a stand on, or what should I be mad about, or what should I, just be, and I keep coming back to, what did Jesus say? Love the Lord your God with all your whole heart, soul, strength, and mind, and love your neighbor as yourself, and keep grounded there. And that helps me. Sometimes we get off on a tangent, and sometimes we go so strong at something that we think, whoa, maybe I should back off on that. But I just try to keep those two main focuses.
Okay, graduates, I have a question for you. Did you ever watch the movie Bucket List? You've seen Bucket List. Okay, so you know the premise of it is that there's a man that has found out that he's going to die, and he makes a list of things that he wants to do before he dies. And you're very young, and dying is the last thing on your mind. But it's always a good idea to have dreams and to set about accomplishing those dreams. So I'm going to ask the panel to give one thing that's on their bucket list. Do you start now?
I actually haven't really thought about this, so I got the question. I'm like, I need to come up with one, I guess. And just mainly because I haven't really just made a list of things that I want to do. There's always little things that I want to do, and I, at this point in my life, really haven't had time to make them. So part of having a bucket list is for me to choose to focus on myself to actually get something accomplished. And one of those things is someday, when I have more than 5 minutes at a time, I'm going to make a quilt. And I have all my kids' baby clothes that they wore, that more than one of them wore. So like an outfit that they all wore, that was one of my favorites, that I'd like to make into quilts, or 5 quilts, so they can each have one someday, before I'm not able to do so.
One thing that I learned very early in my life is, and I didn't call it a bucket list, I had a goal list. Once a year, usually the first of the year, I would write down my goals, and they'd be spiritual, they'd be financial, or personal. And at the end of the year, I would check that off as to what I accomplished. If I didn't, I'd move it to the next year. And so one of the things that I have not accomplished is I want to learn to dance, like Dancing with the Stars. I think that is the coolest. I just need a partner.
You have one. You have one. You just sign him up for dance class with yourself.
I've been asking.
Good luck. I have been really fortunate to have seen and done a lot of things in my life, but a couple things, but one is it's a small thing. I want to hike to the bottom of the Grand Canyon. I just want to walk around and explore the Grand Canyon, not just from the top vista, but hiking all the way to the bottom, which is it's a mile-long hike down into the earth. But I mean, it winds back and forth. It's about 5 or 6 miles long hike down, and it's just a spectacular piece of this earth.
I want a bungee jump.
That's something I did not know. I'm sure there are times he really wants to bungee jump and other times maybe not. And it might have to do with me. We're running short on time, and so I want to close this with, do you have any parting advice that you would like to give our seniors today?
I wrote to be you, and you can't enjoy life if you don't enjoy yourself. God made you, and he likes the way he made you. So don't pick apart your things that you don't think you do perfect enough, because God loves you the way you are.
I have just a couple of points, real short. One, go make the world a better place. And some people think, I can't go and solve a cure for cancer. But let's say that you're just putting Fords on fenders or bumpers on Buicks. You can still smile at your coworkers. You can smile at your boss. I mean, that isn't a big deal. Just plain doing that or being a nice person. So go make the world a better place. And secondly, keep your moral compass. Some people who have been outstanding in things they've done in this world, but they're not nice people. And so, when you're doing something, is this illegal or immoral or life-threatening? And if it's one of those three, well, you should think twice about doing that. So along with making the world a better place, keep your North Star, your moral compass. Now, having said that, there's a lot of things I've done in my life that are really dumb and fun, but that doesn't count. And my wife will attest to that. But make sure you have fun and do dumb things, but as long as they're not immoral or illegal or life-threatening, I mean, have fun in life, but keep your moral compass along the way.
Don't be afraid to fail and to admit your failures. Everybody that you look up to in your life, every single person you look up to in your life has become who they are because of their failures and because of what they learned from their failures. It's okay to fail. We all do. And sometimes when you're young, you don't see that. You see everybody that looks like they have it all together, and they don't. They make mistakes and they fail. Your parents make mistakes and fail. Everybody make mistakes and fail. Just learn from them when you do, and don't be afraid to do something and try something because you're afraid to fail.
I have two things also. The first is for these next few years, again, have fun. This is your chance to grow and expand and do all the crazy things that are legal, moral, and not life-threatening. But also, this is kind of a serious time, too, that don't just throw it away. Take these next few years, your 4 years of college, your 2 years of traveling, whatever it might be, and take it seriously and use it to help make yourself a better person. And then lastly, don't forget your roots. Know where you came from. Remember that the roots are what ground you, and so you can always come back. This church is your home, your family. We will be here for you. There are some great prayer warriors in this church who will be praying for you for the rest of your lives. And know that you can count on them, keep God as your focus, us as your roots, and have fun.
Thank you. After the service, the graduates will be in the fireside room waiting